Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 111 of Brew Talk with Mr. Beer. My name is Robert Lewis. I will be your host for today's show. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in and watch our videos. Hopefully you're enjoying them. Hopefully you're learning something and you find them somewhat entertaining. As entertaining as we can be. If you want to reference our notes for this video or any of our past videos, if you're tired of listening to me talk and you want to reference like the written form of the video, just go to our blog page, mrbeer.com/blog, or just go to the website, click on the blog button. There's a search feature in there, or you can just filter by the Brew Talk videos, and you can dig through and find, all what you want. But if you want to search, it might be easier since we have 111 videos now, so it's a lot to search through. So today I got a short episode for you. We're going to talk about sampling your beer. This is probably one of the most exciting parts about the home brewing process. But it's your first actual taste of brewing of your beer that you brewed. I mean, before that you just brewed it and kind of waited around. So when you go to sample it at day 10 or day 14 or whatever day you're sampling it, it's an awful exciting time. But the question that was posed was, when sampling your beer, should you always toss the first pour? So to answer that question, up front is yes. When sampling your beer, you usually want to pour a little bit, then toss it, then pour another sample again. And the reason for that is during the brewing process, what you're going to get is you're going to get sediment that will develop at the bottom of your fermenter. So that's called trub, and it's a byproduct of fermentation that's created by the yeast as well. So it's a good way to know that your beer is fermenting. If you get that sediment at the bottom, your beer is fermenting good. But it can also sometimes get into your tasting sample, which is not very good. And it can get into your bottles too, which is not that much of a big deal at that point, but can get into your tasting sample. For the most part, that sediment will kind of settle to the bottom of the reservoir that we have. Show and tell today. So the reservoir, so most of the sediment's going to settle right at this point right here, but there is a little lip for that spigot, so that's just to make sure you get all the beer out of there. But sometimes you can get some that will kind of settle right up front, right around here. Sometimes it will settle within the spigot itself. If you do that when you pour your first sample, you're going to get a little bit of sediment in there. That's going to kind of alter what you're tasting there. So you could not be tasting, the actual flavors of the beer. You could get some kind of residual sweetness that you normally wouldn't get. So you always want to make sure that you're tossing that sample. And just to show, we'll see if you guys can see this on camera. I have two samples that I poured here. I don't know how well the picture is, but one's a little clearer, one's a little darker. So you can see in this one, I'll hold it up close, move the logo there. You can see there's a bunch of little sediments in there floating around. This one's much more clear. That was kind of the second pour, so I poured a little bit and then poured another sample. So you can kind of see the difference of how those work and how that could definitely alter the flavor of your beer. So when you're pouring your sample, you always want to toss your first pour. That will clear the spigot area of any sediment that's sitting in it or around that area. Then take your sample again. It'll be much clearer and you'll get the full taste of the beer. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like, a comment, or share it where you can. We appreciate that. Make sure you're following us on all social media platforms. We're just at Mr. Beer on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Hopefully turning out some more brewing videos soon and some other fun stuff coming on the road. So make sure you're following us everywhere so you can catch all the cool stuff that we will be doing. If you're posting any brewing videos or any brewing posts, make sure to tag us so we can see them. You can use the hashtag Mr. Beer, but the best way is just tag us at Mr. Beer, especially on Instagram. That way we can share them. We love sharing stuff in our stories about brews, and we also share, in our stories about upcoming sales, or if we start sales early, sometimes we'll post about them in our stories. So make sure you're following us on Instagram. And if you want to learn more about Mr. Beer or brewing with Mr. Beer, just join our Facebook group, Mr. Beer's Brewing Society. Just find that by going to Facebook and searching Mr. Beer's Brewing Society. That's going to wrap it up for this episode, and I will talk to you guys next week. Cheers.